New studies have shown executions in Saudi Arabia have risen 80% under MBS. There's a reason for MBS. Okay, look, this is a horrendous story. You have the Saudis right now under the leadership of this nutcase. I mean, the guy's a nutcase. So an increase of 80% of executions, but let's talk about what it's for. Big portion of that is for political dissent, okay? We know this. We know there's no question that same family was responsible for 9/11. That discussion's over. We know that. We know we gave them a free pass on that. We gave them a free pass on Khashoggi. We gave them a free pass time after they've just flippantly looked in our face and said, no, hell with you on the oil issue. At what point do we say, God, this ain't our friend here?
Right. And I don't know that we hit that point unless we had maybe a Bernie Sanders type in office, but Biden talked a big game about it, said, I'm going to make them a pariah.
I know.
And instead he ends up over there begging them, please lower the oil costs. And they said, no, in fact, we're going to cut production and raise the oil prices. But they are murdering people for tweeting negative things about Saudi Arabia. They're murdering people for protesting that we think women should not be hidden from society. They're treating these people exactly as if it was somebody who went out and killed 10 people in the street for no reason. They don't see a difference in those two crimes.
No.
And the justification is insane because MBS has said, like, well, listen, back in the 80s, Osama bin Laden was considered just, a anti-government, protester, and then he turned out to be the world's worst terrorist. Well, you can't just preemptively murder people for tweeting because you think 30 years from now they're going to be the next bin Laden.
Let me tell you the people they really hate, this family. They really hate the dissenters who ask the obvious question. How did your family, this Saudi family, get control of all of our oil? How is it that this Saudi family, totally unelected, there's been who put them in charge? You see, isn't that the obvious question? I've been over there. And when you ask that question, you say, well, I don't know. The response is, of course, they're terrified to talk to you, but the answer is, well, I don't know. Who the hell put them in charge? Those are the dissenters that are really getting their heads hacked off. And so that's come back around. People are asking that question now. The reason they participate with the terrorists as they do, because they're so worried about the population. They're worried about the population and the clerics turning against them. So they promote, they do it secretly. They hand out money secretly. We're handling those cases, as you know. Our law firm is handling all of those cases dealing with terrorism and their connection to the Saudis. And but when somebody asks the question, maybe somebody watching this can figure it out. Who in the hell said, yes, Mr. Whatever, you're in charge now. Your family's been in charge. The British and the Americans put them in that seat without there was no predicate for anything. But since then, this is how they run things.
And we're selling them the weapons that they're using. They're our good, best buddies across the globe. And then we just look the other way when it's time for them to haul 100 people out there and chop their heads off in the public square.
Something really bothered me about this story when you go back and looked at it, is Jack Dorsey knew that they were spying on the folks that were objecting. Yeah. They were dissenters. Jack Dorsey knew they were spying on them through Twitter when he was in charge.
They had an informant
Yeah.
working there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's disgusting, and people died because of that. Just total not caring about it.
It would be one thing if he said, "Well, how could I have known?" He knew. He knew that was a vehicle that they were targeting the dissenters. Twitter. While Jack Dorsey was involved.
Sending them their location. I mean, truly evil stuff.
Yeah.